three quarters of trash. The offense was trash. The defense was trash. There has to be some fight back. If they're going to allow that kind of physicality, my team has to step up and match that physicality.
Thursday night wasn't just a win. It was a declaration of war. The Indiana Fever didn't just beat the Las Vegas Aces. They dismantled them. They embarrassed them. And they did it without Caitlin Clark even stepping on the court. But let's rewind. This wasn't just any game. This was the Fever's first victory over the Aces in years. We're talking nearly a decade of losing. That's not just a bad streak, that's a curse. And the way they broke it, it couldn't have been more poetic. From tip-off, the Fever played like they had something to prove.
Reality, period. One team is fickle and one team is not. One team is 3 steps behind and one team is not. They got all the 50-50 ball. I mean, they busted our ass in every kind of way, Michael. There's just no two bones about it. It's one of the worst.
They were the aggressors. They were the enforcers. They controlled the tempo. They dictated the game. While the Aces looked stunned, confused, and ultimately defeated, Indiana looked like a team on a mission. A mission to make the entire WNBA take notice. And they did. Loudly. If you want a visual of how this game went, just look at the final score, 83-54. That's not a win. That's a demolition. That's a, we're not playing with you anymore type of message. And oh boy, the league heard it. This wasn't Caitlin Clark leading the charge. She was sidelined, resting an injury. So what does that say? It says Indiana isn't just a one-woman show. It says this team is deeper, hungrier, and more dangerous than anyone thought. Aces head coach Becky Hammon couldn't hide her frustration after the game. Her press conference, legendary, explosive, brutally honest. She didn't sugarcoat a thing. They busted our ass in every kind of way, she said. That's not an exaggeration. That's facts.
Becky Hammon and the Aces. There is a complete lack of professionalism and a complete lack of focus. I don't know how you step on a court with 20,000 people in the stands and perform like that. That's crazy. They're shooting layups. I thought they were grabbing and holding us. It's a rugby.
The Aces, reigning WNBA champions, looked outclassed in every department. The Fever out-hustled them, outshot them, and most importantly, outworked them. You could see it in the effort plays, the dives for loose balls, the scrappy rebounds, the rotations on defense. Indiana played like their lives depended on it. And maybe, in a way, it did. Because games like this, they define seasons, they change narratives, they shift power. Hammon, one of the sharpest basketball minds out there, saw it all unfolding and was powerless to stop it. One team is physical, one team is not. One team is 3 steps behind, one team is not, she continued. And she was right. The Fever were in their grill all night. Every pass was contested, every shot was challenged. They turned the Aces into bystanders. But let's talk about the real story here, the emergence of Indiana's role players. Because with Clark out, someone had to step up. And oh, did they ever. Aaliyah Boston?
The referees were letting the Ace away with a lot. They were letting the Ace away with a lot. If I knew which one was coming, I could prepare myself better. Tonight, we put a third quarter together and after...
Monster game. She controlled the paint like it was her personal property. Nalissa Smith? She was everywhere, rebounding, scoring, defending. But the real surprise? Aari McDonald. This woman is a revelation. Picked up on a hardship contract, she's now looking like a permanent piece of the puzzle. Fast, fearless, ferocious. She brought that spark, that edge, that energy the team needed. Her on-ball defense was suffocating. Her pace in transition was lethal. Her playmaking, underrated and deadly. After the game, Boston said, "We told her during the game, we're just thankful for you." That's not just teammate talk. That's genuine appreciation. Because McDonald has transformed this team's defense. She's taken the reins while Clark recovers, and she's running with them like she's been here all season.
Beat the Las Vegas Aces 81-54 by 27 points. We held the Minnesota Lynx to 59. We follow that up holding the Las Vegas Aces.
In the past 2 games, both against top-tier opponents, the Fever have held their opposition to season lows. That's not a coincidence. That's McDonald's footprint. Plus 26 in the box score. You can't fake that impact. Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, deserves her flowers too. She's crafting a new identity, one that starts with grit and ends with wins. This isn't the same Fever team that's been a bottom feeder for years. This is a squad with purpose, discipline, and swagger. And when your coach gets a technical up 23 points like White did, you know they're sending a message. That message, we're not backing down anymore. White didn't like the officiating, she didn't like the physicality, and she let the refs hear it. That kind of fire from the sideline energizes your players. It shows them you've got their back. It unites a team. And the crowd? Electric. They were living and dying with every possession, chanting, clapping, feeding off every stop, every bucket. This wasn't just a win, it was a moment.
Points. This was a team win. This was a complete win. Offensively, they did what they needed to do. Defensively, they were hounds defensively. Attacking everything. Pressure.
A turning point. Because make no mistake, the Fever have arrived. They're no longer the easy win on your schedule. They're no longer the team you overlook. They're coming for everyone. And with Clark waiting in the wings, they're only going to get scarier. Let's not ignore what this loss means for the Aces. This is a crisis moment. 9 losses already. That's more than last year. That's more than the year before. This isn't a slump. It's a full-blown identity crisis. Arjar Wilson did her thing. No doubt, she always does. But where was the help? Chelsea Gray? Silent? Jackie Young? Missing? Kelsey Plum? Inconsistent. This team was built to dominate.
The coach, what team you're getting on any given night, you have to come with your engine started. We would have won 5 or 6 more games if we just played harder. That is awful. That is awful. Like, the Aces say.
And speaking of Aari McDonald, let's give this woman her flowers. She's been everything the Fever could have asked for. Since stepping into the starting lineup while Clark recovers, McDonald has been the spark plug that's ignited this team's defense. Aaliyah Boston said it perfectly after the game. We told her in the game, we're just thankful for you. Her impact was undeniable. Look at the plus-minus, plus 26. That's elite. Whether it's scoring, defending, getting the offense set, making the right read, or hitting the extra pass, she's doing it all. Boston called her the perfect missing piece, and she's absolutely right. Because the Fever without Clark haven't just survived, they've thrived. They beat the Lynx for the Commissioner's Cup, then turned around and held the Aces to their lowest scoring total of the year. 2 elite teams, 2 dominant defensive performances, and at the heart of it all, Aari McDonald. Under Stephanie White, Indiana is becoming a defensive powerhouse. They're not just playing defense, they're dictating games with it. They're making elite teams look average.
Considering the fact that they are 8 and 9. So she's basically trying to say, let's just say winning 6 games. So they go 14 and 3. She was saying if they'd worked harder, they'd be 14 and 3. I mean.
And they're doing it with a collective chip on their shoulder. But let's return to Becky Hammon's post-game meltdown, because she wasn't done delivering bombs. One team is fickle, and one team is not, she said, clearly frustrated with her own roster. One team is 3 steps behind. They got all the 50-50 balls. They busted our ass in every kind of way. You don't often hear championship coaches speak that raw, that real. That's not frustration, that's panic. Because when your team gets beat that thoroughly by a group still labeled as developing, you've got problems, big ones. And the scariest part? Caitlin Clark wasn't even playing. The Fever just shut down the defending champions without their most dynamic weapon. Imagine what happens when she returns. That 83-point total could have hit triple digits. The Aces barely cracked 50. That gap's only going to widen. Hammon acknowledged the inconsistency. If I knew which version of my team was going to show up, I could prepare better. That's a damning statement, because consistency is what wins championships. Right now, the Aces have none. 3 quarters were trash, she said. Offense was trash. Defense was trash. When your head coach is this honest, the issues aren't strategic. They're emotional, psychological, cultural. And she made it clear. This wasn't an isolated incident. At some point, you have to say that's more us than the opponent, because it's happened against multiple teams. That's the truth nobody in Vegas wants to hear. They're not the hunted anymore.
I wouldn't be out there saying that. I wouldn't be out here saying that, we just got outworked today, because, I mean, Like, you lost to the Valkyries by 30. Like, you've lost to the Valkyries by 30.
They're just another name on the schedule. Another former champion trying to recapture past glory. Meanwhile, the Fever. They're building something real. Their culture is forming, their roles are being defined, and everyone's buying in. They've won half their games for the first time in over a month. They're climbing, while the Aces are sinking. And that descent isn't slowing down. Aari McDonald's numbers? Quietly excellent. 11.3 points, 3.8 assists, 2.5 boards, 1.3 steals. In under 27 minutes a game, that's production, that's efficiency, that's someone who needs a permanent role. Remember, she was brought in on a hardship deal. No real practice, no chemistry. She showed up and immediately clicked. She was waived by the Sparks, joined the Fever mid-season, and now she's changing the entire trajectory of the team. How many players can say that? Her energy, her pace, her attitude, they're contagious. She's not just filling in, she's rewriting the script. And if you're the Aces, you have to be asking serious questions. Because when your coach says, "We'd have 5 or 6 more wins if we just played harder," that's not a critique, it's a crisis. Trying harder isn't optional in pro sports, it's the bare minimum. But apparently, that minimum isn't being met. And that's devastating, because this roster, loaded, talent everywhere. Arja Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, they're all all-stars. But stars don't mean much if the team around them is disconnected, or worse.
But what do you even say to your team after a showing like this one? I'd imagine, I know you believe that your team is kind of better than what you saw on the court tonight. What do you say after something like this?
There's not a whole lot to say.
Disinterested. Hammon's breakdown wasn't just about X's and O's, it was about heart. They just wanted it more, she said. And that's the most disturbing truth of all. Because desire? You can't coach that. You can't scheme it. You either have it or you don't. And right now, the Aces don't. The Fever do. And when Caitlin Clark returns, it's only going to get worse for opponents. Because this team isn't just finding confidence, they're finding rhythm and belief and wins. This was a statement game. One that told the league, the Indiana Fever are here. They're real, and they're coming for everything. The Aces, they're still searching, but time is running out because the WNBA power structure is shifting.
To come in here with that effort, complete lack of focus. They played harder yesterday in practice by a lot. Wasn't even close. So I don't know how you step onto the floor with 20,000 people in the stands and